Hello, everyone, and welcome to Music 133. I'm Dr. McClellan, and I'm sitting here broadcasting live from New York City. And we just wanted to have this live event with you to just put faces to names and make sure you know that we're actual real humans behind this course. We built the course, we wrote the material, we created all the assignments for you with loving care and tenderness to make sure that it would be the maximal learning experience for you.
Tenderness, is that really the word you wanted to use? Were you feeling tender when you made these?
Well,
I don't know that I was feeling tender.
There were tender moments, but there was a lot of hard work and slogging and lots of stuff. Just imagine all of you'll see as you get into the course, there are tons and tons of examples of just repeated stuff that you have to get through, and we had to make all of that. Actually, Dr. Wilcox did a lot of the heavy lifting on making all the music examples that you'll see.
And for every question on a homework assignment you see, there'll be 4 or 5 times as many questions you don't see because it's all randomly generated. So
yeah, in fact,
lots and lots of things.
Yeah, that's a practical point to keep in mind, that when you let us know if you have a question about a homework, about, let's say, question 7 on your assignment, always please provide like a screenshot or description, because the numbers are randomized and we don't know what your number 7 was. It will be different from somebody else's number 7. But we can get into practicalities later.
This is scintillating.
This is just so tonight's just an introduction. Make sure that you kind of have an overview of the course and what it's all about. We've been enjoying the meet and greet, getting to know who you guys are. You're an impressive bunch.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, and
more than I can keep up with this year.
Yeah, so we apologize if we're not fully keeping up with responding to everybody, but
we're looking at them, but
we're reading it, and we know who you are, and we're appreciating that you're in our course, and we love having you.
I'm just not sure that I'm capable of being clever that often. I might be able to be clever for 1 or 2, but by like the 5th one, I'm like, okay, what haven't I said yet? Hello, welcome to music. Oh, okay.
Then you can switch to wise and thoughtful.
Oh,
this few of those, and then you run out of steam on that.
Yeah. Or this will be a nice break from your regular course of study, and
Right.
So it's true. But we still appreciate you all here. And as we go through, if you have questions, right underneath in the forum, you can type them in and we'll check them periodically. But so what should we talk about, Robin? What do the students need to know?
Well, maybe we could start with just a really brief, just about ourselves.
And I'm going to eat a little popcorn when you're giving your bio.
Just entertainment to you?
You are entertainment.
Just a movie?
Well, if it's a movie, you're very boring, so get on with it. Entertain me.
So just maybe like quick intro to who we are. I'm Dr. McClellan. I'm pushing 40 years old. I live in New York City. I'm a composer by instinct, and I also teach composition and other music stuff, and I work for a company called Noteflight that does music notation, and I have a doctorate, thus my title, but I cannot help you if you're sick. But I know a lot about music, but not nearly as much as there is to know about music. And I love teaching music theory, and I don't know what else. Over to you.
You're married?
I'm married, yes.
Yeah, just recently. That's nice.
Just recently. My wife's a psychologist. So I'm in excellent...
I don't want your whole life story.
Well, I just so you know, I'm in excellent mental health right now.
Oh, that's good.
Tip-top form.
Yeah. I'm Dr. Wilcox. I live out here in Berkeley, so it's still sunny, though I'm from the East Coast of the United States, like all good people are. I'm from outside Philly. But I'm also a composer and a musician. But I have found myself, out of necessity, after finishing my doctorate, to branch out a little. So I work full-time as an instructional designer. I build online courses for the University of California at Berkeley. and that's something. And I'm also a blogger, and I write online. Um, and I see we have a question already from Dr. McClellan that says, ask us questions. That's super. So I also blog online, and I teach music. And, as with Professor McClellan, I love to teach music theory. I would not claim to be in nearly as good mental health as he would claim to be. My wife has been in China and Taiwan for the whole year. So, so that does mess with one.
You're quickly deteriorating into.
I am. You certainly you wouldn't want me to turn my camera to point at the room. It looks like, oh, it's just scary up here. I don't want any documentation of that. So
we're lucky we're on the opposite coast from you.
Yeah, all of you, the whole class is lucky that they are at a distance. But rather than hemorrhage viewers, how should we introduce this? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I was just going to talk about some real basics. Like, first of all, make sure you're in eCollege and that you know how to get into the course. And the first thing you see is this welcome page with welcome and course calendar. And yeah, take it away. Maybe I'll share my screen so people can see what I'm talking about.
Well, one of the most critical things is the course expectation video. And we made that to kind of highlight some of the areas that people fall down in all the time. I guess we want to get Professor McClellan's screen showing. Hopefully you can all see that, and if someone can see it, I would love to send us a ping to let us know. But the course expectation video covers some of the basics.
Lower right over here.
Yeah.
Looks like this. And
one of the critical things that we need you to pay special attention to, beyond the fact that no musical training is really required for this course, that we will see you through, that if you have problems, you just need to talk to us and we'll work it out for you. We'll help you get through. I mean, if you skip 3/4 of the course, there's only so much we can do, but we'll try our best. But this issue with the gradebook, it's specific to Canvas, not Canvas, sorry, eCollege. And what eCollege shows you is your average score. I'm sure we're all enjoying seeing Professor McClellan type into Piazza. What eCollege shows you is your average score, average of what you've completed. So if you only complete one thing and you get 100 on it, it looks like you're going to get 100 at the end of the class, and you won't. So you always want to scroll over that score that it shows you and look for your total score. And your total score is what you've completed so far. Your average score is just individual items. And we've had many people misread it, thinking they're getting an A and getting a D or a C or not passing at all. And you think, well, how could you possibly have made that mistake? You didn't do 3/4 of the course. How can you expect to have gotten an A? But that being said, the gradebook is confusing. And I've gone back and forth with Pearson, who does eCollege, over and over again. And there's not much we can do about this. So just keep in mind that what you're seeing there for your total is simply an average of what you've done. And if you haven't done much, then it doesn't really reflect your total score. So keep going, keep accomplishing things, and watch your scroll over it. Watch that little video we've provided you to show you how to read it properly. That's a really critical thing.
Absolutely, yeah. I was trying to show you one, but I don't have a sample that I can show. But
I'm not even sure whose screen is showing. I think maybe yours is.
Oh, well, if it is, it's not looking very exciting. Maybe I'll just...
Yeah, I think maybe you shouldn't be showing that, Ryan.
Well, not my grade, but it was all confidential. But now I'm switching over. So make sure that if you can see my screen, I'm showing the syllabus, and just make sure that you've read through it carefully. If you have, okay, this is another topic. If you have a question or a concern or a query or anything like that, we love hearing from you. We want to know what you're thinking. And that's one of the things about an online course that can be hard. You can't just sort of go up to us and ask in person. but we are as available as we can possibly be online. So the first place you should go is Piazza. We will see your question very quickly, and we'll answer as quickly as we can, but that's not the only benefit. The other is that other students might see your question and maybe they know the answer, and maybe Dr. Wilcox or I are out partying somewhere, which is how we spend most of our time. And
really,
that's a joke, by
well,
the
if
way.
you're pushing 40, I've already pushed 40 over the cliff, so I'm not doing any partying.
Yeah, we're not really big partiers, but we may be busy, and some other student may see your question and know the answer first, and you'll get your answer quickly.
Busy doing nerd stuff.
Yeah, we're very nerdy. But
we own it. We own that. That's ours.
We live into
we're okay.
it. We're at peace with ourselves. Like I said, I'm in great mental health. So Piazza is that you can read about Piazza if you're interested. It's sort of an innovative and really cool site, which is it's designed for higher education, and it's designed to get answers to you, the student, quickly, and to get the best and most accurate answers. And part of that is the students providing those answers whenever you happen to know, like if you're not sure about something or if you're confused, like all of you can help each other, and that's a really great resource. It's also just a good way, as you've already seen, to like get to know each other and kind of be social and feel like a community. Like this course is a community, and you're all here to learn music theory, and you all come to the table with really interesting backgrounds. And about that, one more thing to add, please don't feel out of place if you don't know about music. I know a lot of people on the meet and greet say, I've done this, I've played this instrument, I was in band. We had somebody who was signed to a label in a band, which is awesome. But if you have no musical experience, please don't feel out of place, because that's completely fine. And there's many of you out there in the course, and you're going to do just fine. This course requires no background at all. It's from scratch, from the get-go, and everybody can excel 100% in this course, as long as you just do the work and read carefully, and that's how the course is designed.
So why don't we unshare your screen, Rob?
Oh yeah, I should be showing myself.
Yeah. So let's get to kind of some of the meat and potatoes things. There's a couple of things that are really important that you know. First of all, creative projects. Now, at any point in the course, you can say, oh, I don't feel like doing this piece of homework, and I don't feel like doing this exam. And if you skip it, it's no big deal. You just don't get points for that. So if you skip an exam, that's 6% of your grade with a 0 in it. But that's normal. People understand that. And if you skip a homework assignment, that's 1% of your grade with a 0 in it. Normal, right? Now, these creative projects are only worth 3 or 4% of your grade each. They're not huge. However, because they are a lot of what this core competency of this course is based on, the fact that you're getting arts credit for taking the course, you have to do those. So if you skip, just out of your own choice, if you skip more than one of those, we fail you for the course. So that's a dumb thing to do, because pretty much all we want you to do is play with sound and do your best, and what you come up with is fine. It doesn't have to be clever. I mean, if it's clever, that's great. But what I'm saying is, don't get the impression that you only have to do 2 of them, or that you can skip some of them. You have to do all of them. But if you skip more than one of them, you're in real trouble. We can't pass you because you fundamentally have not completed what you need to complete to pass the course, which, to get the arts requirement grade.
I want to just underline that so what we're saying is you could get a passing grade in terms of the number. You could have an 80%, but if you got that 80% by not doing 2 of the projects, you'll still fail. And that can get confusing. So be really, really careful. Just bottom line, do the creative projects.
Yeah, they're easy to do. We grade them pretty lightly. Really, the idea is to get you to play with sound.
Yeah, and this is another place where don't be intimidated if you don't have background. We're asking you to compose and perform a melody, which sounds kind of scary if you've never done any kind of music before. but we speak from experience that we've had hundreds and hundreds of students come through the course during the years, and they've all done this, and we've been amazed by what they come up with. People with no background are so inventive and cool. And even if it's not something like mind-blowing, it's still always just cool. And each and every one of you is going to do something cool.
Yeah, and we ask you to write about it just to get you to kind of think about what you're doing. To have we just want you to do it purposefully. These are the sounds I want, or, but again, if it's not amazing, that's fine. I mean, I say things all the time, and they're not amazing things. People, I make verbal sounds all the time, and everybody talks, but only a few people say amazing things. Well, anybody can make music, and maybe only a few people will make amazing music things, but that doesn't negate the fact that other people have the right to communicate with music, and that's all we're asking you to do. It's to give it a shot, give it a go. I think that little analogy, metaphor thing, simile thing, I don't know what it was, but it went around in a weird circle.
It worked.
It got back there. I got it back. I think we should also mention the proctor tracking. Do you want to go for that? Because that's such a fun subject.
It's our favorite topic. In order to verify that you took the course, this is a legal thing. So the government looked down upon us from on high and said, we want your degree to be worth something. In other words, we don't want anybody to ever be able to say, this person faked their way through this online course. We want to be able to say, this person took the course, and we can say that for certain, and this degree is rock solid and set in stone. Therefore, they devised this thing called ProctorTrack, which videotapes you while you're taking your exam, which really sounds terrible when you just say it like that. But it's really not a big deal. And we've used it last semester, and it's fine. Everybody's used to it. It's not a big deal. It requires a little bit of setup.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if I want to say it's not a big deal, but the fact of the matter is, when you're taking a test live, your faculty person's there, watching the room. Mm-hmm. And when you go to a proctoring service, you pay 4 times as much for the proctoring service, and the proctoring service person is there watching you. The difference with ProctorTrack is it's a computer algorithm, and the computer algorithm is just looking for things which might indicate cheating. For instance, if there's someone else in your room talking to you, well, the computer can't tell whether they're giving you answers or whether they're talking about whose turn it is to do the laundry. It's my turn. But so it just will tell us, oh, there's something you need to check out here. So we'll go in and say, oh, okay, all right. No, they're talking about laundry. And then that's it. So if something like that happens, it's not a big deal. I mean, the fact of the matter is, ultimately, it all still comes back down to us, the instructor, to make any kind of decisions. And frankly, we don't want to get involved. We don't want to be involved in what you're doing unless you have someone sitting at your shoulder giving you the answers as you're taking the exam, or you're pulling up websites while you're taking the exam. I mean, we can't really ignore those things, but we can't see them and we can't hear them, and and so we're compelled at that point to be involved. But other than that, we're not really interested in whether you walk around or go to the bathroom or what you do while you're taking your exam. That's not really something we care tremendously about, but this is a legal requirement, and you will see it in other places, even if you haven't yet. It will be increasingly deployed.
I just want to briefly walk through just the nuts and bolts of it. So basically, you'll have to download this program that will commandeer your computer while you take the exam, and will videotape you and record you. Then a computer scans the video for anything. Most of the videos just pass right through because all you did was sat there looking at your screen doing your exam. If it flags anything, then it puts a little flag in there, and we go and look at it. The computer makes no decisions for us. We have a final say. If we chose to, we could watch you blatantly cheating and pass you right through. It's up to our human judgment. So it's just to kind of help to. I
love it I love it when Proctor Track tells us to check up on people because it'll say verbal suspicion, and it'll be somebody chewing gum, like
Yeah.
really grossly chewing gum.
In one example, like somebody was very diligently doing the exam. Somebody knocked on their door, and they had to go get the door, and so Proctor Track flagged them, and they very diligently said, "I can't talk right now. I'm doing an exam," and then they came back to their desk. So of course, like, no big deal. I just pass them right through. That's the kind of thing that happens
And that's
99% of the time.
99% of the time.
So,
and it's obvious, and we usually so all we can say is don't worry about it. I can't say that it's not something that I don't know how I would have felt about it if I had been a student. I know how I feel about it as the instructor, but we understand and do what we can to help make this, as with every other thing in the course, as smooth and as painless as possible.
Yeah, so it's basically an extra little piece of what you have to do, but it'll be very easy.
And we do want you to get on it quickly, because it takes a day or two for those accounts to register and become fully active. So if you wait till the day or two before the first Unit 2 exam, then there's sometimes problems to get it fully activated. So just take care of it easy. And just so you know, all the exams are in the exam folder under Unit 6, and that's true for all of the online courses in this division. That's to help the computer people find everything they need to set this up. So when you're ready to take that exam too, just look for it down in below Unit 6.
Yeah, and that's the general thing. Don't wait around to get started on all this stuff, because it takes time and takes getting used to. Even if you just devote a half hour, like tomorrow, to just like look through everything, make sure you're set up, that you know where everything is. Even if you're a theory whiz bang already, and you know you're going to breeze through the course in 20 minutes, just get set up, because you never know. It's unexpected things happen. Maybe your computer operating system has a thing that you don't know about. Like, just get yourself going, and then you can relax and do the course in due time.
One of the things that I found, and just in terms of my own previous knowledge, I decided to go to music school, and I was moderately prepared, but being able to read music fluently in multiple clefs and knowing my scales pretty much, there is stuff in the course, even with that level of knowledge, and doing all the nerdy things that people do when they want to go into music school. There's stuff in this course starting in at the end of Unit 2 that I just hadn't been exposed to. So even if you've played an instrument, you're going to hit stuff you haven't seen before very quickly, and you could hit stuff within some of the first few lessons you didn't know about, like the way the octave functions, or the way the octave is broken into different types of groups, which is so important when you're learning scales. So don't assume just because you've had previous music experience, or you've played piano for 12 years. Sometimes you play piano for 12 years, but when it comes time to actually writing a rhythm down that has the right number of beats in the bar, all of a sudden that becomes extremely difficult to do, and you realize that your knowledge, it's like being taught to read a language but never to write a language, so you'll find that your knowledge is spotty. So pay attention, even if you feel like you know it, and get started early, because if you try to do this all at the last minute, it's a recipe for frustration.
I think the language analogy is really strong, and that's how we think about this. Like, it's the same type of learning process that it would be for learning a language. So there's a lot of repetition and drilling in the assignments, and you might think to yourself, like, why do I have to do this so many times? And it's one of those things where if you do it that number of times, then it's solid, you know it, and you learn it.
Yeah.
And there's a method to the madness. So if it seems repetitive, it is, because that's how you learn this particular kind of material. And
it's repetitive at the beginning too. Like, we want you to know notes really, really well in both clefs and just be able to see them, because if you can't just see things clearly, when you move on to scales and intervals and triads and then the harmonic function, you're going to have all sorts of issues if you're still counting lines and spaces to figure out what every single note is.
Like to jump on that, like an analogy is if you learned a language and you had to go back and look up every word each time you needed to use it in the dictionary, you would never be able to speak the language. So it has to become automatic.
Yeah, certain parts of it have to absolutely become automatic.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how the course is structured. We kind of give you that practice if you approach it conscientiously.
Yeah.
So we're getting up to half an hour, and I'm sure it's been riveting television. I guess we need catchphrases. I should have a catchphrase. But, what is there any questions?
I don't see any on chat, so people are just content to listen to us blab away.
Yeah, does anybody want to join us? We can pass out a link. I'm going to put a link so if someone's got a Gmail, and we'll wait a few more minutes and see if someone wants to join us on the chat, because I think that would be interesting. So there's a link up in Piazza if you've got a Gmail account with Hangout and want to join us as we close off. That would be an interesting way. But if we don't see someone by 7 o'clock our time, probably or 7 o'clock my time. It's 10 o'clock your time.
And what's up with this West Coast time? We don't work in West Coast time. You have to adjust to us.
Oh, I see. I just wonder what no one has anything better to do in the evening to sit around and watch us blabber and eat popcorn.
I think this is pretty exciting stuff.
It is.
I'm excited.
I love music and I love talking about music. So hopefully, as we move forward, we'll be doing more actual talking about music and less talking about the syllabus and course expectations and proctor track. God, if I ever have to say those two words again, I'll be really excited by that.
Well, and I want to mention that these events are going to be a recurring feature of the course. So for each unit, we'll do one of these live video events where we'll answer your question. We'll sort of talk through the material informally, and we'll answer your questions as we go along, and it will be a chance for you to get actual personal in-person talking about if there's something you're confused about. And sometimes that can be nice and a nice alternative to everything in writing.
Yep.
So
absolutely. Yeah, we do these regularly, and we invite and encourage you to jump on and join us so that we can single you out and embarrass you personally. No, just joking.
Never.
So that we can address problems that not just you are having, but lots of people are having. And it's a lot easier if we can get real questions to answer if we get real questions, we can provide real answers. And that's something that's important to us. But I guess watch in a week or so. We'll probably join together again with this level of focus and intentionality, and discuss some of the concepts in Unit 1.
And remember, in general, when you're asking, think of it this way: when you ask a question on Piazza or on one of these calls, you're doing many of your classmates a favor, because guaranteed a whole bunch of them have that exact same question but aren't asking it. And they're really relieved that you're the one who asked it, and then they admire you and they think you're awesome for doing that.
That's a lot. That's a lot of promises you've made.
But
we promise you admiration. Well, we promise you followers. And
we all have that feeling, like sitting in a crowded room, and you're just wondering something, but you don't want to ask, or you're shy or whatever, and then somebody else asks, and you're like, "Thank you." So be that person. Be that person who jumps out and asks the question. The cliche is there's no dumb questions. Maybe that's not true.
That's clearly not true.
But it's a good general guide, because you don't know if a question is dumb until you ask it. Let's think of it that way. It might seem dumb, and then you ask it and you're like, yeah, that was dumb, but at least you asked. And if you might think it's dumb, and it turns out it's actually a really interesting.
There are very few dumb questions.
Very few, yes.
Yeah. Would you pledge to run as the Republican candidate if or we support the Republican candidate. That was a dumb question. That one that Trump got us. That was well. We'll avoid talking about Republican debates as they happen because they're too much fun to talk about. That's more fun than music theory, at least in the short term.
That's true.
That's true. I'll talk about Donald Trump's hair, and we can do that.
We could be political commentators.
Or I'll talk about Stephen Colbert's new show. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can talk about that. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun. Jibber jabbering with Professor McQuillan. Well, everyone was forced to watch, and
well, we didn't force anyone to watch.
No, we didn't force anybody to watch.
Force people to watch.
We didn't force. No one was forced. If you watched it all the way to the end, you were not forced.
Yeah, and you win valuable prizes, except not of a tangible nature.
Yes. And not a karma either. There's no karma in this.
Exactly.
Well, there. I guess there is, but no intentionality. All right, so. All right, it's been good, and we'll talk to you all sometime in the next week or so, and talk about Unit 1 specifically. Again, with more focus and more intentionality.
All right. Good night, everybody. Cheers.
Good night. Cheers.